35. Moesha cast members who tragically passed away. What if we told you that behind the laughter, love, and lessons of Moesha tragedy was silently looming? The iconic sitcom that shaped an entire generation also carries one of Hollywood's most heartbreaking legacies. Over 3 dozen cast members and guest stars are no longer with us. From rising young talents whose lives ended far too soon to legendary icons who left unforgettable marks, their stories will shock you, move you, and make you question how fleeting fame can be. Stay with us until the end, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Legends of Black Excellence. Brandy Norwood. Brandy Norwood was just 17 when she stepped into the role of Moesha Mitchell in 1996, but she quickly became the face of a generation. As the show's lead, she embodied the smart, ambitious, and sometimes rebellious teenager navigating life, family, and love. Moesha not only turned Brandy into a television star, but also reinforced her status as one of the most influential R&B artists of the 1990s. Born on February 11, 1979, in Macomb, Mississippi, and raised in Carson, California, Brandy began singing at an early age. She was inspired by Whitney Houston and signed with Atlantic Records as a teenager. Her debut album, Brandy, 1994, sold over 6 million copies worldwide and produced hits like I Wanna Be Down. By the time she starred in Moesha, she was already a platinum-selling artist with a voice that defined the decade. The success of Moesha gave her crossover appeal, leading to acting opportunities like Cinderella 1997 alongside Whitney Houston, and films such as I Still Know What You Did Last Summer 1998. Yet her journey was not without turbulence. In 2006, she was involved in a fatal car accident that left her deeply shaken, though she was never criminally charged. The incident caused severe emotional distress and periods of depression. Despite struggles Brandy endured, she released more albums, including Aphrodisiac 2004 and B7 2020, while continuing to act. Financially, she built an estimated net worth of around $12 million through music, television, real estate, and endorsements. As of 2025, at 46 years old, she remains active, admired not only for her artistry, but for her resilience in overcoming personal and professional challenges. For fans, Brandy will always be Moesha, the teenage girl who felt like a reflection of their own lives. But beyond that, she is a pioneer whose influence in music, television, and culture continues to inspire future generations. Jeanette DuBois. Jeanette DuBois was more than a guest star on Moesha. She was a cornerstone of African-American television history. When she appeared as Mrs. Moss on the sitcom in 1997, it was only a small part of a career that had already stretched across decades and inspired generations. Born Jeanette Teresa DuBois in Brooklyn, New York, she built her name as a versatile actress, singer, and songwriter. Long before Moesha, audiences had already embraced her as the sharp-tongued but warm-hearted Willona Woods on the groundbreaking series Good Times. That role made her a household name, but her influence reached far beyond a single sitcom. DuBois was also the co-creator and singer of the iconic theme song for The Jeffersons' Movin' On Up, a piece of music that instantly evokes the optimism and determination of Black progress in the 1970s. With just one song, she embedded herself permanently in television history. Yet for all her fame, DuBois remained fiercely private, preferring to keep her personal life away from tabloids. What she shared most freely was her artistry, a career filled with theater performances, guest spots, voice acting, and musical contributions. Financially stable and personally grounded, DuBois lived much of her later life in Glendale, California. She was deeply connected to her family and never lost sight of her roots, even as Hollywood recognition grew. She also invested in real estate and supported charitable projects, quietly helping her community while avoiding the spotlight that often consumed her peers. Her final years were spent in relative peace. Despite the harsh realities of age and the shifting nature of the entertainment industry, she continued to radiate dignity and grace. On February 17, 2020, Jeanette DuBois passed away in her sleep at the age of 74. Though her departure was sudden, it was serene, leaving fans comforted by the fact that she left this world as gracefully as she lived in it. Her legacy is vast, from the witty comebacks of Willona Woods to the uplifting anthem of the Jeffersons, to her quiet but meaningful presence on Moesha. Even today, her work stands as proof that television can both entertain and empower. Her name may no longer light up marquees, but her influence is permanently etched into the DNA of American entertainment. Every laugh, every lyric, and every heartfelt performance remains a reminder of a woman who understood the power of art to uplift her people. Lee Chamberlain. Lee Chamberlain's appearance on Moesha in 1999 as Mrs. Lavas was brief, but her legacy as a performer and educator stretches far beyond that single role. Born Alverta Lee Chamberlain in New York City on February 14, 1938, she grew up with a passion for storytelling and the arts. From the start, she proved she was not afraid of challenges. As a black woman pursuing a career in acting during the mid-20th century, she had to fight against barriers of both race and gender. Yet with determination, intelligence, and elegance, she carved out a career that touched stage, screen, and classrooms alike. Her career highlights include her work on Electric Company in the 1970s, where she introduced countless children to the joy of reading, and her dramatic turns in films such as Uptown Saturday Night. Chamberlain's versatility allowed her to navigate both comedy and drama, always delivering performances that carried weight and authenticity. She later transitioned into writing and producing creating opportunities for younger artists and lending her experience to causes that supported diversity in the arts. Off-screen, Chamberlain lived a life grounded in family and education. She poured her heart into mentoring, believing that the greatest measure of her success wasn't fame, but the ability to inspire others. In her later years, she established organizations aimed at supporting young actors, ensuring they could navigate an industry often hostile to women of color. Despite declining health and a long battle with cancer, she never abandoned her love for the craft or her community. Tragically, on May 25, 2014, Lee Chamberlain passed away at the age of 76. Her death was a quiet moment in Hollywood, overshadowed by louder headlines, but for those who knew her work, it was the loss of a guiding light. She left behind not only roles that showed her range and talent, but also generations of artists who benefited from her mentorship. Her story reminds us that not every influential figure is a household name. Some, like Chamberlain, contribute by opening doors, breaking stereotypes, and planting seeds of opportunity for others. Though her time on Moesha was small, her impact on American arts and culture remains immeasurable. Maya Angelou. When Moesha welcomed Maya Angelou in 1999, audiences witnessed not just a guest appearance, but the presence of one of the most profound voices of the 20th century. Born Marguerite Annie Johnson on April 4, 1928, in St. Louis, Missouri, she endured a childhood filled with trauma and hardship. But instead of allowing pain to silence her, she transformed it into art. Through her poems, autobiographies, plays, and speeches, Angelou elevated personal struggle into universal truth, giving strength to millions. Her acclaimed memoir, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, became a cornerstone of American literature, offering an unflinching portrayal of racism, resilience, and self-discovery. Beyond writing, she was also a dancer, singer, actress, and civil rights activist who worked with both Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. She lived a life of reinvention, always using her talents to push culture forward. Angelou's personal life was defined by devotion to her only son, Guy Johnson, even as she faced failed marriages and financial uncertainty. In Winston-Salem, North Carolina, she built a home that became a sanctuary for creativity and a base from which she traveled the world. Despite health challenges, including respiratory issues in her final years, she never stopped teaching, mentoring, or inspiring. Do you believe Maya Angelou's greatest impact was through her literature or through her powerful speeches that moved nations? On May 28, 2014, Angelou passed away peacefully at the age of 86. Her death was a global moment of mourning, but her legacy remains eternal. Schools, libraries, and communities continue to draw from her work as a source of courage and empowerment. She showed the world that words can heal, that art can resist oppression, and that truth spoken bravely can reshape history. Robert Guillaume. Robert Guillaume's guest role as Arthur on Moesha in 2000 was only a glimpse of a man whose career broke barriers for Black actors in Hollywood. Born Robert Peter Williams on November 30, 1927 in St. Louis, Missouri, he grew up in poverty and faced systemic racism early in life. Yet he transformed those struggles into fuel, becoming one of television's most respected and versatile performers. His defining moment came with the character Benson DuBois, first on Soap and later on his own spin-off Benson. Portraying a witty, intelligent butler who outsmarted politicians and rose to Lieutenant Governor Guillaume shattered stereotypes of Black characters on TV. His performance earned him 2 Emmy Awards, making him one of the first African-American actors to win in the lead comedy category. Outside of television, Guillaume's voice became unforgettable as Rafiki in Disney's The Lion King, 1994, a role that resonated with audiences worldwide. His stage credits were equally impressive, including Broadway productions that showcased his commanding presence and musical talent. Despite his professional triumphs, life tested him with hardships. In 1999, he suffered a stroke that could have ended his career. Yet with determination, he returned to work, proving that resilience defined him as much as talent. He also experienced ups and downs in his personal life, including divorce and the challenges of balancing family with a demanding career. On October 24, 2017, Robert Guillaume died at the age of 89 after a battle with prostate cancer. His passing closed the chapter on a career that paved the way for countless actors of color. Today, his characters live on not just as entertainment, but as milestones in the fight for representation. Guillaume showed the world that dignity, intelligence, and humor could break barriers, and he did it with unmatched grace. Anthony Johnson. Anthony Johnson's role as G.D. Dog on Moesha in 1996 may have been small, but his larger body of work left a lasting impression on audiences. Known affectionately as A.J. Johnson, he built his reputation in comedy clubs before landing roles that showcased his energetic humor. His breakthrough came in the 1995 cult classic Friday, where his sharp timing and infectious presence made him unforgettable. Even in supporting roles, Johnson had a way of stealing scenes, earning him a loyal fan base. Born in Compton, California, Johnson grew up in a tough environment which gave him the grit and resilience that colored his comedic style. He brought that same authenticity to the screen, whether in films like House Party Menace II Society or various television guest spots. Yet behind the laughter, his life was filled with struggles. Financial instability plagued his later years. Despite appearances in dozens of films, steady work was hard to come by. He married Lexis Jones Mason, and together they raised children, but balancing family responsibilities with an unstable career added constant stress. By the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at only $100,000, far from the wealth many assumed Hollywood comedians enjoyed. His family even turned to crowdfunding to cover funeral costs, a stark reminder of how unforgiving the industry can be. On September 6, 2021, Anthony Johnson passed away at just 55 from multiple organ failure linked to chronic ethanol use. His untimely death left fans heartbroken, but his comedic legacy, especially his unforgettable turns in Friday and Moesha, remains alive. He is remembered as a man who brought joy to audiences even while silently carrying heavy burdens. Fredro Starr. Fredro Starr's run on Moesha from 1996 to 2000 as Quentin Q. Brooks gave the show one of its most dramatic and rebellious characters. With his tough exterior and undeniable charisma, Q became a love interest for Moesha, played by Brandy, and quickly grew into one of the most memorable figures in the series. But Fredro Starr was not just an actor, he was also a force in hip-hop. As a founding member of the rap group Onyx, he helped define hardcore rap in the 1990s. Hits like Slam, brought raw energy to the mainstream and cemented Onyx as pioneers of aggressive, gritty hip-hop. Starr's work with the group earned him not only fame but also financial stability through royalties and international tours. His success in music allowed him to seamlessly pivot to acting, where his intensity translated perfectly on screen. But success came with challenges. Starr's outspoken personality and controversies occasionally hurt his reputation in Hollywood. Legal troubles and clashes with producers limited some opportunities, slowing what could have been a much bigger acting career. Still, he diversified, investing in real estate and maintaining an estimated net worth of about $2 million by 2025. Do you remember Fredro Starr more as the rebellious Q from Moesha, or as the explosive rapper from Onyx? As of 2025, at 53 years old, Fredro Starr has chosen a quieter life away from the constant chaos of the entertainment industry. He continues to make selective appearances, but his days of headline-grabbing controversy are largely behind him. While he is still alive, his career on Moesha stands as proof that a guest character can leave a permanent mark, shaping the show's legacy and deepening its emotional impact. Cheryl Lee Ralph. When Cheryl Lee Ralph stepped into the role of Dee Mitchell on Moesha 1996 to 2001, she brought warmth, strength, and depth to the character of a stepmother trying to guide a teenage daughter. Her performance gave balance to the show, combining authority with compassion, and she quickly became a fan favorite. Dee's steady hand shaped Moesha's household, offering lessons about discipline, love, and resilience. Ralph's journey in entertainment began long before Moesha. Born on December 30, 1956 in Jamaica and raised in Long Island, New York, she studied at Rutgers University and became one of the youngest women ever to graduate from the school at just 19. She burst onto Broadway as the original Deena Jones in Dreamgirls 1981, a performance that earned her a Tony nomination. That achievement marked her as a powerhouse talent with both acting and vocal ability. Her career extended across television, film, and music, but she never limited herself to the stage. Ralph has also been an activist focusing on HIV/AIDS awareness and women's empowerment. She balanced her career with her family life, navigating a divorce before finding stability in her second marriage to Pennsylvania State Senator Vincent Hughes. Her story is one of persistence, an artist who refused to fade even when roles for Black women were limited. In 2022, Ralph reached a new peak in her career with her role in Abbott Elementary, winning an Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a comedy series at age 65. Financially, she has managed her career wisely, with investments that give her a stable net worth estimated at $5 million. At 69, she remains a vibrant figure in Hollywood, proving that longevity and reinvention are just as important as raw talent. Her legacy is already secure. As Dee Mitchell, she became a mother figure for countless fans watching in the late 90s, and as herself, she is a living example of resilience, grace, and purpose. Marcus T. Polk. As Miles Mitchell, the mischievous younger brother on Moesha 1996-2001, Marcus T. Polk brought humor and relatability to the series. His pranks, witty remarks, and playful rivalry with Moesha offered comic relief while still capturing the struggles of growing up in a complex family. Fans instantly connected with him, and many believed Polk was destined to transition from child star to household name. Born on October 12, 1986 in Los Angeles, California, Polk began acting at a young age, appearing in commercials and small roles before landing his breakout part on Moesha. He also explored music, hoping to build a dual career as both actor and rapper. His talent was undeniable, but navigating fame as a teenager proved challenging. After Moesha, Polk appeared in shows like The Proud Family and films including Roll Bounce 2005 and Take the Lead 2006. However, his adult career was overshadowed by personal troubles. In 2013, he faced legal issues following a domestic violence case which damaged his public image. Despite setbacks, he continued to pursue work in entertainment, although never at the same scale as his teenage years. Financially, Polk's net worth is modest. estimated at around $500,000, much of it from investments and residuals. Now 38 years old, in 2025, Polk is still active though, far from the spotlight he once commanded. He continues to seek new opportunities, hoping to rebuild and reshape his legacy. For many fans, however, he will always be remembered as Miles, the funny little brother who made the Mitchell household come alive with mischief and laughter. His story reflects the difficulties faced by many child actors, early fame, personal struggles, and the uphill battle to reclaim a place in an unforgiving industry. But it also carries hope, the chance for reinvention, perseverance, and perhaps a second act still waiting to be written. Shar Jackson. Shar Jackson lit up the screen on Moesha from 1996 to 2001 as Niecy Jackson, Moesha's loyal, witty, and always energetic best friend. With her vibrant personality and impeccable comedic timing, she became a character fans looked forward to in every episode. Niecy wasn't just comic relief. She embodied the joy and chaos of teen friendship, grounding the show with her relatability. Born Sharice Jackson on August 31, 1976 in Boston, Massachusetts, she began acting in the early 1990s, with small roles on sitcoms before landing her big break on Moesha. Her natural charisma helped her branch into music as well. She was a member of the pop group Impulse in the early 2000s. Jackson's career also included appearances on reality television, most notably Celebrity Fit Club. Her personal life, however, became the subject of public scrutiny. Jackson was thrust into the spotlight when her relationship with dancer Kevin Federline collapsed after he left her for pop star Britney Spears. At the time, she had 2 children with Federline, and the breakup became one of the most talked about celebrity stories of the early 2000s. Rather than retreat, Jackson faced the attention with resilience, choosing to prioritize her role as a mother while maintaining her presence in Hollywood. By 2025, Jackson has continued to work in entertainment while carefully building a financial base through real estate investments. With an estimated net worth of $1.5 million, she remains stable and active. At 48, she has not only endured the ups and downs of fame, but has also become an example of perseverance for many fans. For those who watched Moesha Jackson, will always be Niecy, the loyal, funny, and supportive friend who made audiences laugh while reminding them of the importance of friendship through life's trials. Denise Dowse. Denise Dowse brought authority and quiet strength to Moesha in 2000 when she appeared as Principal Yvette. Her performance carried the same gravitas she was known for in other projects, whether in Beverly Hills 90210, where she played Mrs. Teasley, or in films like Coach Carter and Ray. With a commanding presence, she often portrayed women of influence, mentors, teachers, or leaders who guided others with both firmness and care. Born on February 21, 1958 in Honolulu, Hawaii, Dowse trained in theater before building a long and steady television career. Unlike many Hollywood actors chasing stardom, she was consistent, working across decades in supporting roles that gave every project more credibility. While she never reached the celebrity status of some peers, she built a reputation as a dependable, talented actress. Dowse never married and had no children, choosing instead to dedicate her time to her craft. She owned a home in Hawaii and lived a life anchored by both discipline and independence. Colleagues remembered her as professional, kind, and deeply committed to storytelling. Her final years were marked by health struggles. In 2022, she was hospitalized due to meningitis, a condition that tragically led to her passing on August 13, 2022, at the age of 64. The entertainment world mourned her as a quiet giant, someone whose absence left a noticeable void. Though her name may not always appear in bold headlines, her impact resonates in every character she portrayed. From Moesha to 90210, Denise Dowse's work remains a reminder that true artistry lies not only in fame, but in dedication, integrity, and the ability to inspire audiences across generations. Estelle Harris. When Estelle Harris appeared on Moesha in 1997 as Frances Howie, her sharp wit and distinctive voice made her instantly memorable. For audiences, however, she was already a familiar face, thanks to her legendary role as Estelle Costanza on Seinfeld. With her quick tongue and over-the-top delivery, she became one of the most recognizable character actresses of her generation. Born on April 4, 1928 in Manhattan, New York, and raised in Pennsylvania, Harris discovered acting later in life but quickly turned it into a thriving career. She was a master of comedic timing, effortlessly blending sarcasm with warmth. In addition to her on-screen work, Harris became a beloved voice actress. Millions of children grew up recognizing her voice as Mrs. Potato Head in the Toy Story films, a role that brought her new fans across generations. Away from the cameras, Harris lived a grounded life with her husband, Cy Harris, whom she married in 1953. Together, they raised 3 children, balancing her busy Hollywood schedule with family responsibilities. Her marriage, lasting nearly 70 years, was a rare example of stability in the entertainment world. Her later years were challenged by declining health, yet she remained active in conventions, voice work, and interviews, delighting fans who cherished her humor. Financially, she was stable with an estimated net worth of around $3 million, and her longtime home in Palm Desert, California served as a peaceful retreat. Which role do you remember Estelle Harris for the most, her unforgettable Estelle Costanza in Seinfeld, or her iconic voice as Mrs. Potato Head in Toy Story? On April 2, 2022, Harris passed away of natural causes at the age of 93. The news sparked tributes from colleagues and fans alike, all remembering her as a woman who could light up a room with just one line. Though her appearance on Moesha was brief, it added another layer to a career defined by humor relatability and the ability to connect with audiences across generations. Kobe Bryant. When a teenage Kobe Bryant appeared on Moesha in 1996 as Terry Hightower, no one could have predicted that he would go on to become one of the greatest athletes of all time. Fresh out of high school, Bryant had just entered the NBA, making history as the youngest player of his era. His guest spot on Moesha was a reflection of his rising star, and for fans of the show, it was the beginning of a journey that would inspire millions. Born on August 23, 1978 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Kobe was the son of former NBA player Joe Bryant. From an early age, he demonstrated not only athletic genius, but also relentless discipline. Over a 20-year career with the Los Angeles Lakers, he won 5 NBA championships, 2 Finals MVPs, and became an 18-time All-Star. His work ethic, famously known as the Mamba mentality, redefined what it meant to be a competitor. Off the court, Bryant's life was filled with highs and lows. His marriage to Vanessa Bryant endured public struggles, including a near divorce in 2011, but ultimately became a story of resilience. Together, they raised 4 daughters, Natalia, Gianna, Bianca, and Capri. Kobe also became an entrepreneur, building a $600 million empire through endorsements, media projects, and smart investments. In 2018, he even won an Academy Award for his animated short film Dear Basketball. Tragically, on January 26, 2020, Kobe and his 13-year-old daughter Gianna died in a helicopter crash in Calabasas, California. The shocking loss devastated not only the sports world, but also millions of fans around the globe. He was just 41. Kobe Bryant's life was both extraordinary and brief. His Moesha cameo now feels like a time capsule of youthful promise captured before he became a global icon. Though gone too soon, his legacy continues to thrive through his family, his foundation, his words, and the countless people he inspired to push harder, dream bigger, and never quit. Jim Lang. Jim Lang's appearance on Moesha in 1998 as himself was a nod to his enduring status as one of television's most beloved game show hosts. Known for his smooth voice and charm, Lang made a career out of bringing people together, most famously as the original host of The Dating Game. His guest spot on Moesha was a playful crossover connecting one of TV's rising shows with a man who had already defined an entire genre. Born on August 15, 1932 in St. Paul, Minnesota, Lang began in radio before moving into television, where his rich voice and affable style quickly set him apart. When The Dating Game premiered in 1965, he became a household name, presiding over awkward, funny, and sometimes heartwarming matches that reflected the changing culture of the 60s and 70s. His tenure on the show lasted over a decade, and he hosted countless other programs, proving his versatility and staying power. Outside of TV, Lang enjoyed a quiet life. His first marriage ended in divorce, but he later found stability with his second wife, Nancy Fleming, a former Miss America. Together, they retreated from Hollywood's chaos to Mill Valley, California, where Lang returned to his first love, radio. Even late in his career, he could still be heard behind the mic, reminding listeners why his voice had become so iconic. Financially, Lang built a comfortable life with an estimated net worth of around $2 million, largely from decades of steady work. On February 25, 2014, he died of a heart attack at the age of 81. The news saddened fans who remembered him as more than just a host. He was a cultural bridge between eras of television. His cameo on Moesha is now bittersweet, a reminder that even icons of a past generation found ways to connect with newer audiences. Though gone, his warmth and charisma remain etched in the memories of those who grew up watching him orchestrate love and laughter on screen. Julius Carry. When Julius Carry appeared on Moesha in 1999 as Mr. Fillmore, audiences got a glimpse of the same commanding presence that had made him one of the most versatile actors of his time. Standing at 6'5" with a powerful voice, Carry was often cast in roles of authority villains or larger-than-life characters who left indelible marks on viewers. Born on March 12, 1952 in Chicago, Illinois, Carry developed an early passion for acting and trained at the University of Wisconsin before earning a Master of Fine Arts at Yale. His big break came in 1985 with The Last Dragon, where he played Shonuff, the flamboyant and unforgettable Shogun of Harlem. The role made him a cult favorite, showcasing his ability to balance menace with humor. Carry's career stretched across television and film, with appearances in shows like Murphy Brown, The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., and Spin City. His versatility allowed him to seamlessly move between comedy and drama, a rare gift in Hollywood. Despite his success, Carry kept his personal life private. He was married but avoided the spotlight, preferring to focus on his craft. In his later years, he faced a painful battle with pancreatic cancer, a diagnosis that ultimately claimed his life on August 19, 2008, at just 56 years old. At the time of his death, Carry had built a stable career with an estimated net worth of around $1 million, largely from consistent television and film work. His passing was mourned deeply by fans who had grown up quoting his lines and marveling at his performances. Though his time on Moesha was short, it forms part of a larger legacy, an actor who could dominate the screen with charisma and energy, whether in comedy, drama, or action. Julius Carry's impact lives on in reruns, cult classics, and the admiration of audiences who still remember the power of his presence. Nancy Wilson. Nancy Wilson's cameo on Moesha in 1996 was brief, but her presence carried the weight of a legendary career. Known as the song stylist, Wilson was one of the most celebrated voices of the 20th century, blending jazz, R&B, and soul with unmatched elegance. Her smooth tone and emotional depth made her a 3-time Grammy Award winner and an artist whose influence extended across genres. Born on February 20, 1937 in Chillicothe, Ohio, Nancy Wilson began singing in church choirs before finding her way to jazz clubs in her teens. She quickly built a reputation as a gifted vocalist, moving to New York in the late 1950s, where she signed with Capitol Records. By the early 1960s, she was releasing hit after hit, including Guess Who I Saw Today, a song that showcased her ability to tell stories through music. Wilson's career spanned over 50 albums, television appearances, and collaborations with artists like Cannonball Adderley, Nat King Cole, and Sarah Vaughan. Beyond her music, she also had acting credits, appearing on shows like Hawaii Five-0 and The Cosby Show. Her presence on Moesha connected a new generation to her timeless artistry. Her personal life was marked by 2 marriages and 3 children, as well as a desire to balance fame with family. Financially, Wilson was successful with an estimated net worth of $15 million, including valuable real estate and investments. In her later years, she gradually stepped away from the spotlight to enjoy time with her family. Do you think Nancy Wilson should be remembered more for her contributions to jazz and R&B, or for the way she inspired younger artists with her cross-genre versatility? On December 13, 2018, Nancy Wilson passed away at the age of 81 after a long illness. Her death was mourned worldwide, but her songs continue to resonate. She left behind a legacy not just of music, but of sophistication, resilience, and artistry that set a standard for all who followed. Big Pun Christopher Rios. When Christopher Rios, better known as Big Pun, appeared as himself on Moesha in 1998, he was at the height of his fame. A groundbreaking figure in hip-hop, he became the first Latino solo rapper to go platinum with his debut album, Capital Punishment, 1998. His lyrical speed, wordplay, and storytelling placed him among the greatest MCs of his generation. Born on November 10, 1971 in the Bronx, New York, Big Pun grew up in poverty but found his escape through music. His rise from freestyle battles to chart-topping success was rapid, powered by raw talent and relentless determination. Songs like Still Not a Player cemented his place in hip-hop history. Yet Pun's life was marked by severe health struggles. Weighing over 700 pounds at his heaviest, he faced chronic respiratory problems and limited mobility. Despite multiple attempts to lose weight, his health continued to decline, exacerbated by the pressures of fame and touring. His marriage to Liza Rios was also complicated, with allegations of domestic abuse surfacing after his death, adding complexity to his legacy. Financially, Pun earned millions during his career, but disputes over music rights left his family facing financial difficulties. Though his net worth was estimated at $3 million during his peak legal battles, reduced the benefits his loved ones received. On February 7, 2000, at only 28 years old, Big Pun died of a massive heart attack in White Plains, New York. His death shocked the music world, cutting short a career that seemed destined for even greater heights. Despite his flaws, Big Pun's impact on hip-hop remains monumental. His lyrical genius and representation of Latino pride broke barriers, ensuring his name would live on in the culture he helped shape. Bernie Mac. When Bernie Mac guest starred on Moesha in 1996 as Uncle Bernie, his energy was undeniable. Known for his booming voice, larger-than-life stage presence, and razor-sharp humor, Bernie Mac had already begun building a reputation as one of the most gifted comedians of his era. His appearance on the show gave fans a glimpse of his signature style before he became a household name across America. Born Bernard Jeffrey McCullough on October 5, 1957 in Chicago, Illinois, Bernie Mac's early life was marked by hardship. He lost his mother at just 16, but tragedy only fueled his determination to succeed. He started performing stand-up comedy in local clubs, slowly rising from obscurity to national recognition, with appearances on Def Comedy Jam in the early 1990s. His raw, unapologetic humor connected directly with audiences, earning him a loyal following. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, Bernie Mac's career exploded. He starred in hit films like The Original Kings of Comedy 2000, Ocean's 11, 2001, and his acclaimed sitcom The Bernie Mac Show, which earned him an Emmy nomination and a Peabody Award. Offstage, Bernie was devoted to his wife Rhonda and their daughter Janice, living a family-centered life despite the hectic demands of Hollywood. Yet his health was a constant challenge. Diagnosed with sarcoidosis, a chronic inflammatory disease that affected his lungs, Bernie often battled pain and fatigue even as he performed. He kept much of his struggle private, preferring to make audiences laugh rather than worry. On August 9, 2008, Bernie Mac passed away at the age of 50 due to complications from pneumonia. The loss stunned the comedy world as fans mourned a man who had risen from the streets of Chicago to become a global icon. Today, his legacy is not only measured in laughs, but in the way he showed that comedy could be both brutally honest and profoundly human. Merlin Santana. Merlin Santana's recurring role as Ohagi on Moesha from 1996 to 1999 showcased his charisma and promise as a rising young actor. Handsome, talented, and full of charm, Santana was the type of performer who seemed destined for stardom. His on-screen presence gave Moesha an extra layer of depth, especially in storylines involving teen romance and friendship. Born on March 14, 1976, in Washington Heights, New York, Santana was of Dominican descent. He entered the entertainment industry at a young age, beginning with commercials before gaining recognition as Stanley on The Cosby Show and Marcus Dixon on Getting By. By the time he appeared on Moesha, he had already established himself as a familiar face for TV audiences. Santana also appeared in films like The Ladies' Man 2000 and television series including The Steve Harvey Show. His versatility hinted at a future where he could move easily between comedy and drama. Friends and colleagues often described him as humble and hard-working, someone who valued family and carried himself with quiet dignity. But behind the bright career lay tragedy. On November 9, 2002, Santana was sitting in a car in Los Angeles when he was shot and killed in an ambush. He was only 26 years old. The senseless act shocked Hollywood and left fans grieving a life cut short before its full potential could be realized. At the time of his death, Santana's net worth was modest compared to other stars, but his impact was not measured in money. He represented the hopes of a generation of young actors of color striving to break through. His loss remains one of the most painful tragedies connected to Moesha, reminding us how fleeting even the brightest promise can be. Yvette Wilson. For fans of Moesha, Yvette Wilson was unforgettable as Andel Wilkerson, the witty, warm, and always supportive friend who doubled as comic relief and a voice of wisdom. Appearing from 1996 to 2001, and later reprising her role on The Parkers, 1999 to 2004. Wilson gave life to a character who felt like family to viewers. Her charisma, sharp humor, and down-to-earth style made Andel one of the most beloved figures in the series. Born on March 6, 1964 in Los Angeles, California, Wilson initially studied film but shifted into stand-up comedy. Her ability to make audiences laugh opened doors in Hollywood, where she landed roles in House Party 3, 1994, Friday, 1995, and eventually Moesha. She carved out a reputation as a dependable comic actress whose presence elevated every scene. Behind the laughter, however, Wilson faced devastating health challenges. Diagnosed with cervical cancer and kidney disease, she underwent dialysis and a kidney transplant. The high costs of her treatments left her financially strained, forcing her family and friends to publicly seek help from the community. Despite the physical and financial burdens, Wilson maintained her humor and optimism, continuing to inspire those around her. Wilson married record producer Jerome Harry in 2001, and he remained by her side during her health battles. Sadly, on June 14, 2012, she passed away at just 48 years old. The news sent shockwaves through fans of Moesha and the Parkers, who mourned not just an actress, but a woman whose kindness and courage left a permanent impression. Her legacy is one of resilience, proof that laughter and love can shine through even in the darkest times. To this day, reruns of Moesha remind viewers of Andel's warmth, and through that, Yvette Wilson's spirit lives on. Ricky Harris. Ricky Harris brought his unique humor and voice to Moesha in the late 1990s as J.W., a character who reflected his real-life versatility as an actor and comedian. Known for his quick wit and distinctive delivery, Harris built a career that stretched far beyond sitcom appearances, touching film, stand-up comedy, and even voice acting in video games. Born on October 5, 1962 in Long Beach, California, Harris grew up in the same neighborhood as Snoop Dogg, with whom he maintained a lifelong friendship. He began his career performing stand-up before transitioning to television and film, appearing in projects like Poetic Justice, 1993 Dope, 2015, and Everybody Hates Chris. Fans also remember his voice work in video games like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, where he lent personality to unforgettable characters. Harris balanced his Hollywood career with his personal life as a father of 2 daughters. While he achieved steady work, he never reached the celebrity heights of some of his peers, instead carving a quieter but equally impactful legacy. Financially, he remained modest with an estimated net worth of around $1 million, much of it tied to his steady but unsensational career. Despite career successes, Harris struggled with health issues. On December 26, 2016, he died suddenly at the age of 54. His unexpected passing left his family, friends, and fans stunned. Tributes poured in from fellow comedians and artists, all acknowledging the respect he commanded in the industry. Today, Ricky Harris is remembered as a versatile entertainer who wore many hats: comedian, actor, voice artist, and father. His role on Moesha was just one chapter in a career dedicated to making people laugh, and that laughter remains his greatest gift. Tommy "Tiny" Lister Jr. Tommy "Tiny" Lister Jr. was hard to miss. His towering frame, booming voice, and intense screen presence made him unforgettable. When he appeared on Moesha in 1996 as a security guard, audiences immediately recognized the same commanding aura that had defined his career. Lister was best known for playing Debo, the menacing bully, in Friday, 1995, a role that cemented him as a cultural icon of 90s cinema. Born on June 24, 1958, in Compton, California, Lister overcame a childhood marked by hardship. Standing at 6'5" with a muscular build, he initially pursued athletics, winning a track scholarship to Cal State Los Angeles. He later transitioned into professional wrestling, competing as Zeus in the WWF, before fully embracing acting. His filmography grew to include appearances in The Fifth Element, 1997, The Dark Knight, 2008, and dozens of television shows. Despite his tough on-screen persona, those who knew him described Lister as generous and warm-hearted. He was deeply religious, often crediting his Christian faith for keeping him grounded. He married Felicia Forbes, a missionary from South Africa, and together they had a daughter. Yet his personal life was not without struggles. Financial setbacks and legal troubles, including a real estate fraud case in 2012, weighed heavily on him. In later years, health problems became increasingly severe. He suffered from diabetes and heart disease, which were worsened after contracting COVID-19. On December 10, 2020, Lister passed away in his California home at the age of 62. His death shocked Hollywood, as he had been actively working and interacting with fans just days before. Though gone, his legacy endures. To fans, he will always be Debo, the neighborhood bully whose glare could silence anyone. But beyond that, he was a man who used his platform to inspire others, proving that even the fiercest characters could be played by someone with a gentle heart. Lamont Bentley. Lamont Bentley brought heart and humor to Moesha as Hakeem Campbell, Moesha's loyal friend and later romantic interest. From 1996 until the series ended in 2001, Bentley's charm-wide smile and natural acting style made him one of the show's most beloved figures. His chemistry with Brandy Norwood helped anchor the series, and many fans still remember Hakeem as the quintessential boy next door. Born Artemus Lamont Bentley on October 25, 1973 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, he moved to Los Angeles with his mother, who encouraged his acting dreams. He began his career with small roles in commercials and TV shows before Moesha turned him into a star. Bentley also pursued music, performing as an MC in the hip-hop group Uprise. Despite his talent, transitioning from child and teen stardom to adult roles proved challenging. He took parts in films such as The Wash, 2001, and Tales from the Hood, 1995, but never quite regained the steady success of his Moesha years. As a single father, he worked hard to provide for his 2 daughters while searching for a career revival. Financially, his net worth was estimated at only around $200,000, reflecting the difficulties many actors face once their breakout shows end. Still, Bentley remained hopeful, continuing to audition and invest time in music projects. Tragically, on January 18, 2005, Bentley was killed in a car accident on a California highway. Driving at high speed, his vehicle went off the road, and he was ejected, dying at the scene at only 31 years old. The suddenness of his death devastated fans and castmates alike, cutting short a life and career with so much unrealized potential. Today, Bentley is remembered not only as Hakeem, but as a symbol of the struggles and triumphs of young black actors in the 90s. His performance on Moesha remains timeless, ensuring that even in death, he will never be forgotten. William Allen Young. As Frank Mitchell, the strict but loving father on Moesha, 1996-2001, William Allen Young brought a sense of balance to the series. His character was a man of principle, sometimes stern, sometimes tender, who represented the challenges of raising a teenage daughter while blending a family. For many viewers, Frank embodied the complexities of fatherhood in the black community, a role rarely explored with such nuance on television at the time. Born on January 24, 1954 in Washington, D.C., and raised in Los Angeles, Young grew up in a modest household. He was the second of 12 children raised by a single mother after his father left. That background gave him a deep appreciation for discipline and perseverance, qualities he later infused into his acting career. Young studied at USC, where he honed his craft, eventually breaking into Hollywood with appearances on Matlock CSI: The Day After and A Soldier's Story. On Moesha, Young became a household name, playing the father figure with a rare authenticity. Off-screen, he built a reputation as a respected figure in both entertainment and education. He often spoke about the importance of representation and co-founded the nonprofit Young Center for Academic and Cultural Enrichment, which mentors youth from underserved communities. Financially savvy, Young invested in real estate, giving him stability, with an estimated net worth of around $2 million. Even as he moved away from leading roles, he continued to work steadily in television, guest starring on Code Black Scandal, and more. Now in his 70s, Young remains active as a mentor and advocate, proving that legacy is about more than screen time, it's about impact. To fans of Moesha, he will always be Frank Mitchell, the anchor of the Mitchell household, a character who taught lessons that still resonate with families decades later. The story of Moesha is more than a sitcom. It's a reminder of how fragile life can be and how powerful art remains long after the cameras stop rolling. From legends like Bernie Mac and Kobe Bryant to rising stars like Merlin Santana and Lamont Bentley, their journeys inspire admiration but also raise questions. Did Hollywood truly honor their legacies, or were their contributions overlooked until tragedy struck? Share your thoughts below, because at Legends of Black Excellence, we believe every voice matters in keeping their memory alive.